Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of core stability work. We're going to start off just by gently exploring the surface of the sacrum. So just to develop awareness of the subtleties of the pelvic floor and lower abdomen. So just gently, I mean your sacrum's about the size of your hand, sitting between the pelvic bones. And just see whether you can feel the surface of the sacrum rolling across the floor. At 12 o'clock you're pressing the low back into the floor, and then at 6 o'clock you're pressing the tail into the floor, and there's a little space then between the low back and the floor. You can see my fingers there. Okay, so just familiarise yourself with that pelvic tilting action. And then if you stay at the 6 o'clock point and gently roll either side of 6 o'clock. So let's say we're moving between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock. And trying to initiate the movement with the pelvis, not the knees. Feeling deep into the pelvic bowl, feeling the pelvic floor muscles initiating that movement. Familiarizing yourself with either side of the sacrum. And so then we're going to stay at the 6 o'clock position. It's about 10% effort in pelvic floor drawing up, 10% effort of lower abdomen drawing in. Okay, and that's enough to sustain the position of the pelvis and low back with the basic core stability work. So our basic is just to drop one knee at a time to the side, and with that core engaged, that's enough to sustain the position. There's no movement of the pelvis, no movement of the spine as the leg drops side to side. Now we can assess this. If you've got a brick, you can let the brick rest on the belly. If you've got one of the foam bricks, you'll be able to rest it upright. And so as you move, oh look, I'm doing really well. If the as the leg moves to the side, if the spine and pelvis are unmoving, that brick will stay there steady. And you can see it's parallel to the floor. Okay, when the spine's in that neutral position, it's parallel to the floor. Pelvis is sitting parallel to the floor. And if the brick doesn't work for you, you can just rest your hands on the pelvis. Ensure that there's no movement of the pelvis as you take the knee side to side. And of course the other way you can be aware is that you shouldn't get heavier on one side of the pelvis. The pelvis is not moving. To begin with, we moved the pelvis side to side. Now it's stationary, it's completely still. Now those of you that want to work harder, and you use more than your core stability muscles here, so you need to make sure they're working underneath. Bring the knees up parallel to above the hips and shins parallel to the floor. And again, one knee at a time to the side. Now I've still got space between my low back and the floor. Okay, so I'm at no stage am I pressing the low back into the floor. I'm keeping my spine in its neutral position. So 10% lower abdomen in, 10% pelvic floor up. And additionally, you'll feel these top tummy muscles working as well, and the fronts of the hips as well. Okay, take a rest down. As important as it is to activate the muscles, it's also important to relax the muscles. So rest your hands on your belly. Muscles completely relaxed now as you breathe in and out. Okay, and we'll resume. So coming back to 6 o'clock position of the tail pressing into the floor. This time we're going to come up onto our tiptoes so the heels are raised. Pelvic floor up, 10% effort. Lower abdomen in, 10% effort. And we're going to lift now one leg at a time. No movement of the pelvis, no movement of the back. And those of you that want to work harder, start with the legs up and take one tiptoe at a time down. All the time maintaining that space between the low back and the floor. If you start to fatigue, there'll be a tendency to press the low back down as the top tummy muscles overtake. And take rest. Nice relaxed breathing, muscles soft. So if either of those felt hard enough, feel free just to stay with that. I'm going to offer an advanced exercise here, but it's not for the beginners. So if so far has been enough, and really so far has been enough. So it's only if you're super strong and want to challenge yourself for that last set. Okay, then we bring our legs up, and this time we're going to take one leg at a time well ahead of us. Exhaling, inhale. Pelvic floor up, lower abdomen in, space between the low back and the floor. All the time, nice relaxed breathing. And when you're even with the legs side to side, relaxing. And to finish, we just might have a little bit of a relax the tummy and release the spine. So just gently dropping knees side to side, turning the head in the opposite direction. And then when you're even with those twists side to side, hug knees into the chest. Relax, feel the breath rising up to the knees. And we'll finish there.